welcome to Brewsers, podcast about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. I am your host, Radio John, and today we talk to Cruz. We talk all about her history in the TV world, becoming a WWE announcer contest winner, and so much more. This is such a fun conversation. Rain has an absolutely amazing story, and I can't wait for y'all to listen to it. But first, make sure to sign up for our newsletter. It comes out twice a week. You get even more information about our guest. You get fun facts, and you get to find out what's happening with your favorite podcast, all about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. So without further ado, here is Rain Cruz. I would like to welcome to the show Rain Cruz. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So people can't see this, so it's just you and I. Your background's amazing. Tell us,
Oh, thank
tell
you.
us about what's going on behind you.
So my background has my logo, which is Ringside Rain.
Yes.
So the Ringside Rain logo is actually inside an octagon, right? Because I
Oh.
am a cage announcer for
Yep.
MMA events out here in California for Up Next Fighting. I also have my Emmys from when I
I
worked in a television production years ago.
I was gonna
Uh,
get into that. Yeah. The last time I had heard you had four, but no, you definitely have more. So
I have six, yes.
yeah.
And then
I like that you lost count. You're like, I don't know how many I have.
so it's not just, for myself, it's a team effort.
Right.
So there's a lot of us who are a part of those Emmys because it's for
Right.
our live shows that have won the Emmys. And yeah, I have my portrait back here.
Yeah. Who did
Uh,
that? That's an amazing painting.
So that's actually one of our photographers from Up Next Fighting. He took that picture of me, and it's one of
Mm,
my favorite pictures. And for Valentine's Day, my husband actually turned my picture into a portrait
I
in
love that.
office. And then underneath it is my SummerSlam chairs
Hmm.
actually. From when I was at SummerSlam for the after winning the WWE announcer contest. So.
Right. Okay. There's so much to unpack. But I don't want to start where anywhere you think I'm going to. I want to start all the way back in time. Where were you born and where were you raised?
Oh, I was actually born and raised in the Philippines.
There you go. That's exactly where I
Yeah.
want to start. Yeah.
Yeah. And I moved here to the US back in 2007.
Okay.
My stepdad brought me here. And then so I lived with him and my mom in Las Vegas. And I was in Las Vegas for 4.5 years. And then after that, I moved to California. Well, I went back to the
Mhm.
Philippines for a few months. Then I moved to California because my line of work is in television production. And for the most
Right.
part, most of the jobs are out here in Los Angeles. So that's how I ended up in California.
That makes sense. Well, so okay, I don't know where to start. How did you okay, so you got over here and when did the bug for TV hit you first to actually, oh, I need to turn all my email off. I'm sorry. To actually like get into it and be like, I could actually do that.
Ooh,
Or
like
I just want to be a part of it, really.
So when I was still in the Philippines, I was taking up journalism classes, right? I was at a
Mm,
journalism school, and my goal was to be a reporter.
hmm
And then when I moved to the US, I had to start over again.
hmm
And I was taking up journalism and media studies, and we had a TV production class, and I really enjoyed it. And at that time, I was very self-conscious of my accent. And so I was like, you know what? Well, I love TV production. Let me just kind of put my energy in this. And for my internship at a local TV station in Vegas, I got a job out of that. And then from there, I just kind of worked my way to getting a full-time job at the TV network for the Lakers and Dodgers out here in California.
Nice.
Yeah, and then so that's where I spent most of my TV production career. And then now I work at ESPN, doing television production still. I love it. There's something about working live TV wherein, there's that adrenaline rush,
Oh
right?
yeah,
To
there's that
make sure that
thrill. Yeah.
yeah, because it's like real time and it's kind of like you're just reacting to what's happening, right? You do
Yeah.
your prep work, and then when we start the show,
Mhm.
then you just kind of react to, what happens. You guys have something that you have planned for, but things can happen here and there. You just kind
Oh
of,
yeah.
have to roll with the punches. And yeah, I love it. I love it, man. I always tell people that life is just basically like live TV. When things go wrong, you just got to move on.
Yes. People, what's so funny is that working behind the scenes, people do not realize the amount of chaos that is actually. So it's basically like a duck treading water. It's all calm and chill on top, but underneath it is absolute chaos. And like you said, you have to roll with those punches. And you have, like you said, you have your plans, and you hope to stick to them as much as you can. But sometimes things go awry, and you got to figure out how to figure out stuff like on the fly.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's why for me, I've learned to just do a lot of like prep work. And
Yeah,
sometimes in my head, oh my God, am I doing too much prep work, right? But the thing is, for me, I'd rather be prepared than not be prepared, right? Because you'll
yeah.
never know when you're going to need stuff. If you don't use it, whatever, it's fine. But then you'll hate it when you get to that part, but oh my God, I should have done this. I should have prepared this. When you get to that moment of like, oh crap. Yep, I knew it. I should have prepped
Yeah.
that.
Well, what's great about that is all I mean, the technical L's you may take in the later rounds, they're W's because you're like, oh, I've been through this before. I've done this, so this mess up is gonna just, I'll be fine because I've already done this happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You learn from those L's.
Exactly. Now, being in front of the camera with as much experience as you still have behind the scenes, do you find yourself helping maybe the cameraman or somebody else that might look like they're lost, but like, when you're not on camera, you can be like, hey, no, we need to be doing this and you need to be over here, or, in the next time, let's do this instead of this.
For me, I kind of just especially with what I do now as a cage announcer, I
Mhm.
just trust everyone that they know what they're doing, right?
Right.
Because I just kind of know my role, right? I don't want to kind of step on people's toes.
Okay, that's
For
nice.
me personally, I just like share what I think would be helpful. For example, for me, whenever we're waiting for fight results, and I could hear it in my ear that they're looking for me, and I suggested, hey, I don't have a way to talk back to you guys. If
Oh yeah.
any of the camera guys could just show where I am, so that way you guys know where that I'm still trying to get the results, that would be helpful. So, stuff like that, because to me, it's like when I'm doing my events, it's like I know my role. I'm the ring announcer.
Right.
That's my job for today. And the suggestions, I just give them suggestions, but for the most part, I don't tell people what to
Nice.
do.
Well, no, I didn't mean like you're the boss, but I mean like you just said, kind of give them tips, like, this is what we're doing. Let me know in the future what we can. Yeah. No, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Well, so I had heard that Lillian Garcia was very big inspiration for you. What was your first introduction to her, and that you were just kind of captivated by what she was doing as opposed to what was actually happening in the ring?
Oh God. So I remember when I first started watching wrestling. That was when I was still in the Philippines,
Yeah.
and
What
um
was that? Sorry, not to sidetrack you, but what is getting pro wrestling in the Philippines like? Do you get the WWE like everybody else does? Is there more wrestling out there? What was the first wrestling that you saw?
I just remember seeing Monday Night Raw, and it was on
Okay,
cable TV for sure. But
gotcha,
I think it was like a rerun of like Monday Night Raw from like an actual Monday here, which was Tuesday in the Philippines. So I think I got to see
gotcha,
it on a Wednesday in the Philippines. Um, but yeah, I think um we never saw it live.
gotcha.
But this was like back in 2006. So
Right.
probably, with the way the technology is now, people can actually see it live as it
Hmm.
happens. But that will be probably like around 4 o'clock in the morning out there. So but but yeah, for me, I would see Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown on a random Wednesday or Thursday, I think. I can't remember. Or like a Saturday. Yeah. But I just remember because when I knew that I was gonna move to the US, I knew how to speak English, right? Like
Hmm.
they taught it at schools in the Philippines. The only thing was I wasn't good with like conversational English. I only
Gotcha.
knew what I learned at school, but like I never practiced it at home. So I was like, okay, let me find some English programming. And I saw Monday Night Raw. I remember seeing John Cena in the ring, and I was just like, oh my God, this is interesting. And then I remember seeing Lillian Garcia.
Mhm.
And in my head, I was like, oh my God, she's amazing. Like her voice, the way she commands the crowd. And I was like, oh my God, that kind of presence for me. It just really, to me, it's very captivating, right? And I just never thought that one day that will be something that I'll be doing.
Right. So, I mean, did you go any further, like when you did come back and were able to look at other announcers that you kind of maybe picked up things from or even took notes from?
Did I look back to like, would be
Like
like,
maybe ring announcers like Howard Finkel or even maybe a Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer, just kind of other ring announcers that kind of really, piqued your interest or not that you stole stuff, but maybe borrowed stuff or you like the way they did this as opposed to the way this ring announcer did this.
you know what's to me, it's like I never really the thing is ring announcing was never like a path for me.
Oh,
It was never like, oh my God, I want to be a ring announcer.
right, right.
It just so happened that I loved wrestling and I just knew I couldn't be a wrestler. I wasn't athletic enough. So I was like, okay, let me
That hasn't
find
stopped a
like
lot of people, I promise you.
So I was like, let me find like my space in this
Right.
industry, right? And I first started as like a reporter for
Mhm.
a local promotion out here in California. And my intention was to be a manager. Like I went to there's this school, a wrestling school here called Santino Brothers. And I remember I signed up for a class. Granted, it was an online class because it was during COVID.
Ah,
But I told my coach, I said, I'm not trying to be a wrestler. I want to be a manager. And he's like, okay, you could still sign up for the class. And through there, I made some connections. And that's how I got into my very first promotion. Now, my very first promoter, I said, hey, look, I want to be a manager. And he's like, well, I don't have a spot for that, but you can interview the guys for now. So I started interviewing the guys. I did my first event. I was just basically doing post fight
right.
interviews. And my next event, I was going to do the same thing but with a different promotion. And, they canceled the interviews. And then I just told the promoter, I said, look, like my husband and I drove here for 6 hours. Like
Oh,
anything
wow.
else that I could do. Because in my head, it's like, number one, I wasn't getting paid for that. So I was
Yeah.
like, might as well get something out of it. So I was like, anything else I can do? And the promoter said, well, we don't have a ring announcer. And I said, I can try. If I suck, please tell me I'm not going to do it again. And then so I tried it. And after the first match, I asked him, I said, so what do you think? Do you want me to keep going? He's like, yeah, yeah, go for it, go for it. And then from there, I just kept getting booked as a ring announcer. And honestly, 6 months, no, might not even be, no, that's not even 6 months. A few months after that, I won the WWE announcer contest.
Right.
And it was crazy because like I've only had 10, 10 wrestling events, right? And this
Right.
was again during the pandemic. So our events barely had people.
Right. Oh,
And
wow. So, okay, so I'm just trying to do the math like of how many because I looked up that event that SummerSlam 2021
Mhm.
that had a lot of people
Yeah.
and it's also the home of WrestleMania next year as we're
Mhm.
recording this. So, holy cannoli. So,
Yeah.
how many what was the most amount of people you announced before that happened?
Before that, probably
Yeah.
50.
Goal. So then you went from that to like 44,000 people, almost
Yeah.
45.
I think it was 55,000 for SummerSlam in Vegas.
I
I
could
could
be
be
wrong.
wrong. I
I,
could be wrong.
hold on. No, I'm John Cena's Wikipedia right now. Let me get 40, roughly 46,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
46,000.